Okay, so I just read this case, the surgeon, the snakebite patient, 1 a.m., and I honestly didn't know whose side to take. Like, he worked from 4 in the morning, and they're calling him unreasonable? Right? That's exactly why this case is so brilliant as a teaching tool. Because your first reaction, whoever you side with, reveals your ethical instincts. And today, we're going to unpack the framework behind it. This is AETCOM Module 3.5, Case Studies in Bioethics, and the big concept is fiduciary duty, which sounds very legal. It is very legal, and very ethical, and very human. Let's break it down. So the word fiduciary comes from Latin, fiducia. It means trust. A fiduciary relationship is where one person, the fiduciary, holds a position of power and expertise over someone who is vulnerable, dependent, and trusting. The rule is the fiduciary must act in the best interest of the person trusting them, lawyer and client, trustee and beneficiary, financial advisor and investor, and critically for us, doctor and patient. Why is the doctor-patient relationship fiduciary? I mean, I come to you, you treat me. Isn't that just a service? No, and this is the key point. Medicine relies on the structural framework of fiduciary duty, a principle that functions differently than standard consumer logic. When you see a doctor, you're doing something much more vulnerable. You're revealing intimate physical information. You're letting someone examine your body. You're trusting advice you cannot independently verify. You're handing over control during a moment of fear or pain. Right, you're not in a position of equal power. Exactly. The patient is in the weaker position. They need to trust the doctor. And that asymmetry of power and trust creates the fiduciary duty. The doctor must honor that trust above everything else, including personal convenience. Okay, so let's come back to Dr. Rajan. He worked 21 plus hours. 4 surgeries, 40 patients. He told his wife, "Don't wake me up." And at 1 a.m., a 16-year-old girl arrives with a snake bite, cobra venom. She's losing consciousness. The nearest government hospital is 15 kilometers away, and the nursing home board says, "Open 24 hours for emergency." Set that scene in your mind. A terrified mother, a girl who might not survive the journey, and a doctor who genuinely, physically needs to rest. First, duty of a doctor. The IMC Code of Medical Ethics is clear. A doctor must not refuse emergency care. Refusal can even be legally prosecuted. 25 years, Bala. He's been the doctor in this community for 25 years. That 25-year presence created a depth of reliance that carries ethical weight. Studies show that working 17-plus hours impairs performance. Who recognizes burnout as an occupational phenomenon? The answer isn't sacrifice more. The system must protect both. And the fourth, where to draw the line. The SAFE framework helps severity, alternatives available, feasibility to safely treat, and expectation created. Deontologically, Kant, duty is absolute. You respond because that's the rule, regardless of how tired you are. Consequentialist, utilitarian calculus. One doctor's missed sleep versus one girl's life. The greatest good says, treat her. Principalist, Beauchamp and Childress. All 4 principles point the same way. Beneficence demands action, and non-maleficence says inaction causes harm. Fiduciary duty is not an abstract legal term. It is the foundation of everything a patient-doctor relationship stands on. Dr. Rajan was not a machine. He was a human being choosing to honor the trust that 25 years of patience had placed in him. Ethics isn't about finding perfect answers. It's about making the best decision possible and working to build a world where the question never has to be asked again.